to tell us a bit about your career, how it started, and what other roles did you have before getting into the startup world?
Yes, Juana. I have started immediately after I finished the university. I wasn't very clear about what I wanted to do, taking into consideration that I finished the Academy of Economic Studies and it was everything but nothing very strongly and deeply understood and taking as an expertise. So I tried more roles. I've been into media. I've been into the National Oil Company corporate in the business as a business analyst, and I was working with the international department for their international business. Afterwards, I've been into logistics for French corporations in health tech, and then into management consultancy. Now the consultancy activity started in 2007 when Romania entered into EU as a new member, and together with some friends said that we are going to do something about it to be an important player on the market. We set up a company to help local players to access European funds. And to make them easier to, navigate through the cumbersome of the process. Now thinking backwards, I realized that most of my roles have been roles of facilitating and connecting people. Because I was working as a logistic coordinator, coordinating teams in different countries. Then in management consultancy also I had to talk with multiple types of players and actors and prepare projects for them. So being in this company, which lately has been sold to one Estonian management consultancy company that was aggressively expanding in the Eastern Europe. Now it is called Civita Romania. We are still connected. We still work from time to time, exchanging ideas, experts with my former colleagues. But in this role, I had the chance to bump into the entrepreneurship type of projects. This is how I reached to be here where I am today.
Who are the first people, if you still remember, the first people you met in this industry, in this startup world, and what attracted you to make the step and be more involved?
In 2008, 2009, I got the chance to work for an international project supporting entrepreneurship. It was the Global Entrepreneurship Week, set up by Kaufman Foundation, Ewing, Mary and Kaufman Foundation from the United States. It was supposed to have some hosts, organization in every country. They started very big with over 100 countries involved. And the hosts in each country were supposed to organize some events, any kind of happening in schools, wherever, in their own domains, supporting, talking about entrepreneurship and the importance of entrepreneurship and taking initiative, even if in your own company, not necessarily setting up companies, but what it means to be an entrepreneur in your business, in your current role. And this was supposed to happen in 3 weeks in November. And afterwards, we've been a host in 2008. for Romania, and afterwards they increased of over 180 companies, being so limited in between 3 weeks in November. Okay, they decided to make it bigger and let everyone, express the entrepreneurship support the whole year. So the GEV turned into Global Entrepreneurship Network. So now it is active. This is how I started with getting to know mentors and organizations and Endeavor Global and Kaufman Global, and we've got into some other projects at the local level. We've made some research, for example, for the cultural and creative industries. We researched the situation in Romania, and we realized that cultural and creative industry, for example, including IT and software, might be a new chance for Romania, because until 1989 we've been an industrialized country. We were not anymore, but okay, now what we do? And with this research and this report, we realized that all the creative industries, and we defined them, 13 industries put together, could bring 7-8% of the GDP in Romania. So this was a wow. And we loved the idea of pushing this. We've made some Cartea Albă and with some other organizations for Romania. So during these projects, I've met a lot of interesting people, and I remember, for example, Rohit Shukla from Larta Institute. It was one of our partners with whom we built the first accelerator coming from this management consultancy company, which was active in 2013, 14, 15 in Romania. It was called RICAP, the Romanian Innovation Commercialization Assistance Program. It's long, but CAP, it was their trademark, Commercialization Assistance Program. Larta Institute was doing this have been doing this for 20 years in emerging markets, in the United States and in emerging markets. And more precisely, trying to bring innovation and ideas to be accepted by the market and transform them into sellable products. And we were working a lot with the research institutes and the National Institutes of Research, and I said, this is the time for Romania to do that, and we set up a program, and it was backed by the Romanian American Foundation, and that was the biggest project I've been involved in, where I could meet all the players in the very nascent and small ecosystem and young ecosystem in Romania. And Rohit was one of the person that I have seen very passionate about his role, and he could talk for hours about how it is to be entrepreneur and to bring innovation and to bring your contribution, in your role. Really inspiring person. There has been the mentors, the people in the Romanian American Foundation, Roxana Vitan, Paul Baran. They helped us a lot. They supported us. They believed in our capacity to implement this project. And we had a very, very good relationship. Romeo Vasilake also. Then we've been working a lot with Ștefania Pop from Junior Achievement Romania, which was really, really active, and it still is. At the level of, the base of the funnel, with students, with very young people trying to understand entrepreneurship and embrace this role. And a lot of our mentors. We've been working from the beginning with Alexandru Lăpușan from Zitec, with Patrick Gates, with Dan Mihaescu was one of our mentors in RICAP, Alexandru Ruf, both from Gapminder, and Ana Maria Andronic, from Andronic X Partners, which is a very energetic, very good young lady who was really involved and happy to help us, even if she was every time very busy as a lawyer and reputed lawyer, and many others, and some of them still remained. I mean, as repeated entrepreneurs, they remained close to us even years until current days.
Nowadays, you wear many hats for many organizations, but I want to ask you to tell us a bit about ROTSA and its mission, and why do you think that there was a need for such an association, and how are you guys helping startups from all over the country, not just from Bucharest? When we're talking about startups, we are kind of thinking about startups from Bucharest.
Yes, Romania, it seems a large market in the Central and Eastern Europe in size, but not as strong and deep as an ecosystem. So further talking about only Bucharest, it's wrong, because we have multiple companies with great potential from other cities in Romania. ROTSA came as our contribution to boosting a little bit the increase of number of startups at the base of the pyramid, at the base of the funnel. We started Techcelerator as a partner of a venture capital fund, Gapminder, for their pre-seed bucket. We wanted, of course, more established companies, with a more clarified go-to-market strategy, with potential and everything. But we realized that together with all the organizations in the ecosystem, if we don't contribute a little bit lower, we won't have enough number of startups to educate, to work with, and this came as a necessity for the ecosystem, because it was this initiative is not unique in Romania. All the other organizations are trying to set up programs, and for very early stage founders, and even to boost the motivation to create, to be at the level of ideation, for example, to try to bring talent, who to choose, I don't know, to get into corporations, to choose this role of entrepreneur. And ROTSA and Techcelerator are siblings. We have two teams, but we are working on daily basis together. We had an organization, it was called Centrul Startup Transilvania, serving the Transylvania region since 10 years. But now we rename it, we rebranded, and we refined a little bit the mission. And we want to be a common voice for all the technology startups in Romania. We want to be a connector, and a connector with all the peers in the local ecosystem, but also with international organizations in Europe and further than Europe. For example, in 2021, we have been selected to be part of the European Startup Network, ESN, which is an organization who brings together all national startup associations in 35 countries. They have 35 members now. The organization is backed by the European Commission, and it is incredibly good for us to be there, because we can exchange information and cooperate at a high level with other peer organizations in Europe. How we serve the ecosystem in Romania is through specific activities and for ideation and for motivation. So we're organizing hackathons, events for young founders or recent founders. I avoid to say young, because we are meeting not so young founders, but really, really resilient and with expertise and with great potential. So let's say recent founders. We set up, for example, an international first program, internationalization first program. What we want to do, we want to push the teams to think about getting out of the country sooner than testing and over testing here their MVPs. With ROTSA, we are organizing a series of events for making stronger the community of founders. It is called Founders Club. We are having partners in main cities in Romania, and we are doing it once a month. And also we developed we call it an innovation platform. It is an umbrella program. It is called Startup Reactor for early stage startups with a focus to clarify their go-to-market strategy and again to push them and to support them getting out of the country quicker than they think they would be prepared. We have been working also with a lot of partners outside Romania. I would mention, I don't know, EIT Digital, for example. It is a pan-European partner for whom we are a host for one of their programs, a venture program it is called. We have been host for Romania and Bulgaria for the second year in a row. And these companies, together with the companies in the Startup Reactor program, are still in implementation of the program right now. We're doing one-on-ones and evaluation for the success to see, for the success of getting out of the country, of finding a proxy market for them to test the products.
In your opinion, why do you think that is important when we talk about Romanian startups and founders and angels, venture capital, everything connected with the startup ecosystem, not to be centralized just in Bucharest, but also to have more cities that develop as startup hubs that gather together communities?
In Romania, Romania has a common commercial legislation, even if it is very old, at least it is common. So, as I said, as an ecosystem, even if we are a large size, the largest market as size in Central and Eastern Europe and Southeast Europe, we are not so strong as an ecosystem. Even if in the last 5 years, really, I mean, people, I don't know, the mentality around people on the streets, oh, nothing is happening in Romania, oh my God. And we are complaining about lots of things. But because you also are working in this industry, we really feel that things are really moving very fast in this space, and we are glad for that. So when we started with Techcelerator more than 5 years ago, we only have a few players. We didn't have any venture capital funds. That was only one venture capital funds who invested in with tickets more than 1 or 2 million catalyst, but not lower. So since then, the players in the ecosystem increased. The number of players increased a lot. Co-working spaces, we have crowdfunding platforms, we have more groups of business angels and so on. So, and I'm glad to say that they are not all located in Bucharest. So we should think a little bit further. Everything happens around, I would say, around universities. I mean, the cities with traditional universities springs a lot of innovation. So even if, unfortunately, we are not on the top list of world universities, we have like 90,000 graduates per year in Romania. It's a little bit lower last year than before because of the economic situation. But this is where we are expecting, ideas to come out. So wherever there are university, for example, UniRank, it was made the top of universities in Romania. They listed the top 10 universities in Romania, covers all the big cities in Romania, and even Suceava. University of Ștefan cel Mare from Suceava is in the top 10 universities in Romania. So all the cities are covered, and we have alumni and participating startups from all the cities in Romania. So it is wrong to think that only Bucharest springs out potential or innovation or reliable products. And moreover, I would think that it is wrong, to match an ecosystem on the boundaries of a country. I mean, here we would easily talk about Eastern Romania, Southeast Europe, Central and Eastern Europe, whatever. Because there are so many resources in the countries, we are connected with all the countries around. And we could bring, more resources for our ecosystem, for our startups from the country around us. So I would say more that we should develop the region, than Romania ecosystem.
How can we bring these hubs together from all over the country?
I would think that the main idea rising from this question is that we should all the peers organization understand that it is need more to cooperate than to compete. I mean, we should refrain for competing, and we have good signs for that. I mean, for example, when new reports are about to be released, we all give feedback, add-ons and things like that. It's really, really nice. We have big conferences which are reputed outside Romania. There are coming a lot of international experts like Techcelerator, How to Web, Unchain, Bucharest Technology Week, and everybody is there. I mean, we are supporting each other. We are going as attendees. We are offering speakers. We are buying, expo stands, and so we are supporting the organization partners of these endeavors. We even set up some repeated meetings, monthly meetings with all the peers in the ecosystem, which I find really, really nice. I mean, we're really open. We are meeting just to let everybody know about our activities, whatever it is new in our planning, about the events. And with ROTSA, we even set up a series of calendars for regions. It's events in Transylvania, in Banat, in Moldova, in South Romania, which are public. And everybody can get in and put their own events, not to jeopardize, in autumn, everybody, it's full of events, and because we said, okay, no, we won't do that just to put events one over the other. We will do this publicly, and we will help each other just to have, a free interval for each of us. So I find this really, really nice. And there are even common projects at the national level, like Raw Startup it's the project of the World Bank together with the ADR Nord-Est, the Regional Development Agency in the Northeast, which invited all of us to contribute. We had common webinars, we gave feedback, and the result of the project were the two big reports on startups and the recommendation for policy to support startups. So I've seen in those webinars a lot of peer organizations who contributed freely, voluntarily, for the sake of good results and outcomes. So I'm very confident that we are in very good relations with everybody, and I would mention also the regional development agencies, who are some organizations they are apolitic, but I feel them that they get really closer to the startup ecosystem. I've been to the West, for example, the West Regional Development Agency last year in a conference. I was amazed because people still find them as some representatives of public or government agencies, not necessarily private or apolitic. Okay, and years ago when I was going to some public government conference, I've seen only people, representatives from public entities, not a single founder or a startup. It's okay. And when I was going to How to Web or some, there was another world, so a different world. It was like a huge chasm, a huge gap in between these two worlds. And now I find that this gap that narrowed a lot. I mean, the regional development agencies are getting closer and closer to the ecosystem. They are asking us, they are accepting, okay, we don't have all the expertise. We have our resources, we can put on the table our resources. We need you to exchange information and to collaborate. And at that conference last year in Timișoara, I was amazed because there were all the venture capital funds there, and in person and online, and some other organization. I said, okay, this is really a good sign. Yes, people is really trying to understand, the startup world, and it's coming closer to understand their challenges and needs. And so there are good signs for the collaboration in between organization and even with the public representatives.
Still talking about these different ecosystems in Romania. From your experience so far working with Techcelerator and with ROTSA, how is the Bucharest startup ecosystem different from the one, let's say, in Cluj, in Iași, in Oradea, in Timișoara? And what are their challenges, their different challenges and their different opportunities?
I think that it should the resources and available for startups in, let's say, about Romania should be balanced in between the cities. I mean, I really feel them balanced. I would not smell any difference in between Bucharest and Oradea or Cluj-Napoca. Why? Because on both sides, founders and supporting organizations, are very agile and they're moving. I mean, their Gapminder doesn't stay only in Bucharest. I mean, they scout and they know, they screen all the ecosystem and outside Romania. Founders in Cluj-Napoca or in Timișoara are present in all events in Bucharest, in all events in Cluj-Napoca. They are coming to Iași. I mean, we cannot say that there are closed micro ecosystems in these cities. No. We even, for example, this year we are going to make for a second edition a delegation, and for the second time for Web Summit. We've been to Web Summit last year, And it was such a nice atmosphere. We've been with the same plane, I think 95% in the plane was the people, mentors, founders, and everybody. We're like in a camp, you know. And I said, okay, we are going to do that. Of course, what we took from the conference was very valuable, and we even cooperate a lot with the embassy of Romania in Portugal. We who was very open to invite us, to introduce us a lot of players around there. So this year we are going to do it a second time, and this brings together everybody because we are promoting, okay, do you want to represent Romania and everybody in all the cities is coming. Romanian is not so big after all. Yes. So I wouldn't say that there are differences. I mean, for example, with Founders Club, every month we are going to Timișoara, Cluj, Iași and Bucharest with founders, experts, talking fireside chat. And we are not from somewhere, okay? We are from Romania and we are looking for best founders, and we're looking to find out their challenges and to help them as much as possible. I mean, even to promote them.
How do you see Romanian startups in the larger Central and Eastern European ecosystem?
In Techcelerator, we have built a program called Scale Match. What we wanted to do with that was to become a connector of the startups in the region, not only in Romania, with venture capital funds in the region, not only with those in Romania. So with this endeavor, we realized to have a network of venture capital funds in the region. We are working with Credo, with Octagon, venture partners from Hungary, with 11, with Launch Hub in Bulgaria, and so on. We have guests even from Notion in UK and so on. Depending on their strategy, if they are looking to the Eastern Europe, they are willing to come to these meetings. I think that the Romanian startups, through us and through all the organizations in Romania, have a voice in Central Eastern Europe. I mean, we have systematic talks with VestB, with deal rooms, so they are trying to understand the ecosystem. They're trying to scout for startups with you, with other online platforms writing about startups. So I think we are not an isolated ecosystem. We are very much integrated into the Central and Eastern Europe, and for example, with Techcelerator, we have been nominated, I don't know, for the third time, I think, in the Central and Eastern Startup Awards. We're now trying to make the application. We're very happy about it. So all the initiatives, trying to screen, the situation of the South CEE ecosystem shows that we are well integrated here, and we have a voice. And even now the situation with the venture capital funds active in Romania, now they are raising the second fund. So they are divesting and they're raising the second funds, and they are open to the entire region. They're not anymore looking only for Romania. They don't have this constraint of looking only for Romanian startups, but they'll be looking for companies in the whole region, and they already did co-invested in companies in the whole region. So not at first rounds, but in second rounds they co-invest. So I think we are well positioned, and people is getting. After the success stories in Romania, which everybody knows. like the unicorns that this ecosystem put on the market, more and more venture capital funds are looking for data, are looking for startups, and mainly they are contacting the support organizations for that. So we can see that there is an increase in interest from venture capital funds active elsewhere coming here in this region.
When did we first start to see verticals diversify? I know, when did we start to talk about not just Romanian startups, but agri-tech, health tech, AI, a lot of verticals, fintechs, everything.
So since 2017, when we started, we were a partner of this venture capital fund. According to their investment thesis, they didn't have any constraint, or they got agnostic as founding because of the still immaturity of the ecosystem. I mean, going only for ag tech, probably we wouldn't have enough clients. So we started agnostic. Of course, for example, Gapminder has some priorities, in their focus, cybersecurity, enterprise SaaS, and so on, AI. But when we started, and as a revenue partner, so we started agnostic. We made 3 batches. We had a batch in autumn and a batch in spring of 3 months. And afterwards, depending on the partnerships that we managed to close, we built also dedicated programs. I'm talking about Techcelerator now. For example, we have been partnered with the European Fund for Southeast Europe, the development facility, which was based in Germany. They were looking, because it is a financial institution, they were looking for fintechs. As we know, fintech is on the top of priorities and invested industries in the top invested products. Used to be for at least 2 years by now. And we said, okay, we are going to focus a little bit just to screen a little bit the fintech ecosystem in Romania. And we built 2 cohorts of Next Fintech, our program dedicated to fintechs. So, and we see that, yes, there is potential. There are big companies that are relevant with relevant products, and they got some nice investments in Romania. Afterwards, for example, we have been partnered with Google Romanian and Google for Startups, and according to their strategy since 2 years by now, before the ChatGPT and things like that, they had the strategy to talk more about artificial intelligence, with a more clear speech for public, not only for research and tech people. So they wanted to promote a little bit, the benefits that we could have by embracing, understanding artificial intelligence and things like that. And being partnered with them, said, okay, we are going to do a plug-in to your set of activities with what we know to do best, so a program. So we designed the Advancing AI program, and we dedicated it with startups, developing their technology products on the basis of artificial intelligence, and training algorithms and machine learning and so on. Now it's funny to talk about it because of this change of paradigm at the end of last year. But we really started to think about artificial intelligence a little bit more deeper, since 2 years by now. We finished this spring the 3rd cohort of Advancing AI. Now, because we realized that things are moving even faster than there were, I said we made a partnership with a group of meetup, Bucharest Artificial Intelligence. It is a group of around 800 people, maybe more now, I hope, with our endeavor, and organize a series of events. We are organizing a series of events called Raw AI Alliance, because we felt that we need to bring outside from their offices, from the back of their computer, all the tech guys working, you know, the real experts in AI in Romania, because we really have some guys, and in this group was most relevant for us, and because we felt that we need, you know, to keep us informed, to keep up with the trends, and to understand on our own, because, you know, we want to support startups, but in the same time we need to be ourselves prepared, you know. This is how we started to make, you know, particular and industry programs. In the same time, to our joy and satisfaction, there are organizations in the ecosystems like Activize, or even you at startup.ro. I know that you contributed a lot, and even us we struggled to make some reports. Because 5 years ago, if anyone asked us, I mean, how many startups, what is happening in Romania, you just couldn't find almost anything. Now we have reports on ag tech, we have on health tech, we started to, because we wanted to start with advancing AI, we said, okay, we need to make a screening to see what is happening with the AI in Romania, and we made a report on AI in startups in Romania. So we started to talk about industries since we managed to gather some data and to have some reports. And now I think a little bit the situation is a little bit more clearer, and this endeavor is going on, because we are going to have on climate, we are going to have, so organization starts to choose now a space or another to focus a little bit more. So there are good signs. And these things will go on. I mean, if anyone is interested only in fintech, at least we have some data. Okay, and we have some communities, because there is a raw fintech, you know, the association that represents. This is another point to be mentioned, that represents the fintech segment in Romania, and so on. So we have actors, we have some data. So since a few years, I think the things clarified a little bit on each niche.
Taking into consideration our conversation so far, how would you see the evolution of the Romanian startup ecosystem, let's say in the next 5 to 10 years? What opportunities do we have? What do you feel that it's still lacking and maybe we can do better?
Yeah, that's a tough one. Taking into consideration the macroeconomics challenges right now, it's kind of you should dare a lot to make pronostics. So having some data about raising of new funds. So there are going to be new funds in Romania. It is true that at the level of European startup ecosystem, there is a lot of dry powder now. It's a lot, around 500 billion to be spreaded. But I think that having the right number of actors to support the startups, and the amount of capital needed, I think that despite all this crisis, it is a good time to be entrepreneur. I mean, if years ago, the entrepreneurs were just looking all the time outside for getting support. Now we have all the players they would need to start the business and to develop products with potential, because we have everything they need. I mean, all we need is to, and this is why we started ROTSA, and all we need is to be a little bit more vocal and to invite them into communities, to make a stronger community, so that they are aware of everybody who is building the ecosystem. Because resources, there are resources. Now, I think what we are thinking most now in ROTSA, and it's about internationalization. We built an internationalization first program because we saw that founders are just lacking in, are just trying to test their product too much. I mean, getting rid of all their resources. I mean, testing on their local markets. So, for that, we would need to make them understand two things, at least two key things. To have a very long vision, a global vision, to have a clear plan to go outside, to become global, and another thing is to accept, that together with their founders, to accept that their possibility is, instead of getting to the targeted market first, which might be UK or US or maybe Asia, which is fierceful in competition and loaded maybe with resources, to accept to step outside Romania in a proxy market. That could be Central and Eastern Europe market or something, to test. I mean, from the home market where teams are testing with friends or people who want to back them up, and maybe the assumptions test results might not be so accurate. So instead of spending all their money here, they should try to make this step outside Romania a little bit faster. And we try to do this because we are connected with lots of partnerships in Central and Eastern Europe, and in Europe, generally speaking. I mentioned ESN, EIT Digital. We are trying to do that. So as an ecosystem, I'm optimistic. I see new people coming around, or even people in corporate world who are stepping out and starting new products. So having money and having all the peers in the ecosystem, it is impossible not to have good results in the future.
If this internationalization happens sooner for more startups, what do you think that Romania could become from a startup ecosystem point of view in the region, in Greater Europe, in the States, Asia, wherever?
I like very much a book. It is called Out-Innovate of Alexandru Lazarov. He's talking in the book about founders and building companies at the frontier. That means in ecosystems with lots of challenges, because all the books, all the knowledge comes from Silicon Valley, comes from very established and loaded with resources ecosystem. And it's gold. I mean, we can learn a lot from them. But there are some other types of founders who are embracing some other type of building a company, not a unicorn style, but based on the natural progress of a company, based on efficiency, on clients, on these founders have to be much more creative, because they are embracing a lot of challenges. They need to face a lot of challenges in these ecosystems. For example, emerging ecosystem in Asia, in Eastern Europe. Eastern Europe can become a next frontier of founders. Yes, everybody knows that there are lots of talents here. Everybody's chasing for the talents. So we have something to offer to the larger ecosystem of Central and Eastern Europe. In Romania, there are going to be new funds. There are new funds, they are coming into Romania. I mean, even in venture capital funds, but also private equity funds, they are coming. For example, recently they announced a new coming from Poland, private equity fund, resource partners, and so on. So we have funding on all level of maturity of the startups. So I think we have a lot of qualities. This is the truth. I mean, with the languages, with talent, with tech talent, with we even are trying to boost a little bit the women in tech in Romania. And we are very proud of that. Women in Tech Global has an ambassador here in Romania, and we have already started to make some activities for women in tech. We don't want to be, we want to be gender balanced, We are not only for women, but we see some potential around here, and we want to, to encourage more women to embrace this career. And we are partnered with Women in Tech, and we are going to make some new activities on this part, so it's really important for the ecosystem. I think we can be an important player in the market. I mean, Bucharest, there are tops by Westby, by Deal Room, and Bucharest has I think it has a good reputation. I'm referring to Bucharest because they are talking about hubs. I talk about Berlin, they are talking about London, okay, and Bucharest. But Bucharest, let's say, Romania, because we are all together.
And my last question, what title would you give to a documentary about Romanian startups?
I like this with the frontier. I should think of something. Really love these books. I don't know. I would say startups in Romania, the next frontier or the new frontier. It's. I think it's appropriate because it matches a lot with everything that these guys wrote in this book, How to Innovate. And I would love to have some more. Founders, at the frontier here in Romania. I mean, a little bit much more resilient, and persistent. And yes, the next frontier. I love it.